Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
I can't with this guy anymore. Biden, that is. I say this guy. It could be so many guys, so many goofballs out there. I can't with this guy. Did you hear his latest? He's talking. I should never start the show with this stuff. His latest, he was condemning the erectionists. You're one of those. The erectionists. It's a big problem these days. Those erectionists. This guy's the president of the United States. I got that. I got a lot of serious stuff. The Twinkies trial again. Total. I can't, folks. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I'm gonna be crying the whole show. I don't like touching my eyes, man. As if this shirt's gonna save me, right? The Twinkies trial. We're now at the point with MSNBC where embezzlement is cool again. I'll show you what I mean. We got that. I also got a segment Evita put together, which is great, on net zero and the dangers of this net zero, zero carbon future, Project 21, World Economic Forum, Great Reset stuff. It's all tied together. Don't go anywhere. Hey, and a short list of products I believe you have to have. Please get the Jace case of emergency medicines for your family. Go to jacemedical.com. Prepare today. Use promo code Bongino. I got that. We're going to start out with the Twinkies trial today. Before we get to that, mypatriotsupply.com. Another day, another breaking news story buried. They'd rather talk about anything else than what's really going on. Folks, there's emergencies happening out there. The world's a dangerous place. Get ready now, because don't expect the media or these goofballs in charge of the government to warn you in an emergency. I don't trust them at all. You have to prepare yourself. I use My Patriot Supply. I highly recommend them. Since 2008, My Patriot Supply has helped millions of Americans get ready for the worst. Today, their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits are flying off the shelves. Get yours right now at mypatriotsupply.com. This food kit offers over 2,000 calories a day. Calories are survival. All right? It's ultra durable. 4-layer packaging helps it last up to 25 years in storage. Order all the food kits you need for $200 off each. Free shipping included. You've been warned about what could happen. Don't live in fear. Take control of your life and prepare. It's not just food. It's freedom. Stock up on these food kits at mypatriotsupply.com. That's mypatriotsupply.com. Thank you, fellas. First, just quickly, in case you think I was making it up, even left-wing Mediaite. You know it's bad when Guy says to me, Mediaite? Mediaite's like to the left of Lenin. It's like the Communist Manifesto. Even Mediaite's starting to laugh right now about Biden's goofball stuff. They had to issue 9 corrections to one speech. I'm not even going to go through all of them. I don't even want to waste your time. Biden gave a speech in front of the NAACP. It was obviously a total disaster, mocked everywhere. Mediaite is the leftist of left-wing outlets. He referred at one point, I think he was talking about insurrectionists. However, they had to correct it to from erectionists to insurrectionists. So, folks, if you're one of those erectionists, I tell you, take care of that, but you can take that many ways. So I'm not going to say anything. If you're an erectionist, you're on your own. Jim and I are going to put something together a little special about it. I think it's a new TV series. It's like the Avengers, the erectionists. They walk around and they're a little wider than they are longer. If you know. He says it's a very pointed show. He notices it's hard hitting. Very. Okay, enough. I'm sorry, I can't with this guy. President of freaking United States. The Twinkies trial, totally, completely. Twinkies Michael Cohen trial, now entirely, completely off the rails. Judge Merchan's humiliated himself again, won't allow an FEC attorney to testify on an FEC alleged violation. That's not a violation. He stopped Costello, Cohen's lawyer, yesterday. Michael Cohen's lawyer, Costello, who just eviscerated Michael Cohen's credibility. He kept stopping him over and over and over again. Merchan is a disgrace to the legal system. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go into a couple quick cuts and move on to some other things, I'm begging you, please listen to me as a friend. Get the hell out of New York. There are no circumstances under which you should say that. Judge Merchan is one of probably 50 to 100 judges in New York. You have zero chance in a trial with this guy in charge. You get the best jury ever. They will make sure the Star Chamber wins. Get out of New York. Justice doesn't exist. Check this insanity out. This was a sight to behold yesterday. And Obviously the word bombshell is ridiculously overused in the media. Click on my show, bombshell. Folks, this was a legit bombshell, at least legally. Michael Cohen yesterday, Trump's lawyer, goes back on the stand, cross-examination, so Trump team gets a shot at him, right? Unbelievably, this guy admits on the stand under oath to stealing $30,000 from the Trump team. Folks, this is a big deal. Let me explain to you as a former federal agent myself who's been involved in this stuff. How the hell did the prosecution not turn that over to the Trump team as Brady material? I don't want to bore you. I'm not pretending to be a lawyer. However, Brady material is really important. Folks, when I am the subject of a criminal trial by the government, like Donald Trump is, if the government has information that they believe could lead to my, that could work in my benefit, the government is obligated. It's not optional to turn it over. And the courts have ruled traditionally, even if it's on the fence that the information could help Trump, they are still obligated to turn it over. Everyone in the chat got that? They have no choice. If the Trump prosecution, Twinkie's team, Colangelo and others knew this and did not turn it over to Trump, do you understand what a severe violation of judicial ethics and code this is? This is a huge deal. This was missed by a lot of commentators yesterday. A couple picked it up, but most missed it. They were like, oh my gosh, he stole from the Trump team. Yeah, that's bad enough. That's not even as bad as the prosecutorial malice of them not turning this shit over. Here's how bad it got. Again, I love playing these left-wing outlets as the continued meltdown on the left. Here's Wolf Blitzer at CNN on a really stunning revelation that their key witness against Donald Trump admitted to stealing from the Trump organization. Check this out.
Truly amazing stuff that's going on right now. Some truly stunning moments in the courtroom, to be sure, earlier today. Cohen admitting to stashing tens of thousands of dollars from Trump back in 2016 that was intended to go to a technology company. Trump attorney Todd Blanche asking him directly, and I'm quoting now, "So you stole from the Trump organization?" Cohen replying, quote, "Yes, sir."
Folks, this is devastating information. I want to repeat to you again. Forget the theft and embezzlement part. That's bad enough. How the hell did the government hide this? Well, I'm shocked. There were a bunch of legal people on the team. Only one person mentioned it. This is unquestionably exculpatory information for Donald Trump's team. Were they not told? I'd like to know. Because if they weren't told, if they were not told, this is a major problem. Here's how bad it got. CNN's stunned by this as it happens. Here's MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell. Stop the hammering. You know Lawrence O'Donnell, the stop the hammering lunatic. This guy's crazy. This was the one salivating over Stormy Daniels. Remember that clip, a couple of weeks ago? He was like, and she walked in with a black gown, low cut with hair up in a bun. Like, I mean, it was like the dude was reading a romance novel with Fabio on the cover from like the 1980s. It was the creepiest, cringiest freaking thing I've ever seen. Yet some editors and people let that get on the air. Here's Lawrence O'Donnell yesterday about this. And the guy admitted to embezzling money on the stand. Here he is like, that's okay. He didn't think he got enough of a Christmas bonus, so it's kind of his way of making it even. Oh, okay. That's how it works. Now, that's good. I better hide my stuff if I don't give these guys enough bonus. We stealing computers? What the hell is this shit? Check this out.
And that's where he very effectively got Michael Cohen to agree that, yes, he stole $30,000. Later, when Cohen was asked about that on redirect by the prosecution, it didn't really sound like stealing $30,000. It sounded a lot like Michael Cohen doing the little that he could within that calculation to rebalance the bonus he thought he deserved, and it still came out as less than the bonus he thought he deserved and the bonus he'd gotten the year before.
Folks, listen, when you're at the point on MSNBC, seriously, where a guy admits under oath to embezzling money from the organization he worked for, and you're on television trying to do an Excel spreadsheet to balance out the calculus of legal liability to make the guy look better, you've already lost, bro. It's time to just give it up. Wolf Blitzer understood this is damaging. I mean, you have to be insane to go down this path now. You're talking about a case where the former president, likely next president of the United States, is on trial because you claim he made a bookkeeping error, while your main witness admits on the stand to stealing $30,000 and your balance of moral equities is to apologize for the other guy? Bro, Lawrence, please, man, whatever you're taking in those crazy pills, put the bottle down, flush it down the toilet. It is messing with your neurons, bro. You sound like an asshole, like an absolute asshole. Here's a former New York ADA who I guess worked in and around Twinkie's office over there about this trial. He was on Fox yesterday saying out loud what we already know, that even if you're not a Trump supporter, lawyers within this ADA's office think this thing is a total shit show. They're embarrassed, and that the liberal media right now, basically, the liberal media better start preparing people for the worst, because there's no way they win here. They win this trial, they lose because it was a sham. They lose it, they lose. A hung jury, they lose. They drop the case, they lose. It doesn't matter. They've lost. Watch this.
It's hard to understand how the judge is not going to grant a directed verdict, since there's no evidence that links President Trump to any record keeping whatsoever. I just don't understand it. And I don't think all of my colleagues and all the people that I worked with in the DA's office have all said to me, Eric, go out and talk about this. You have the experience to address it. And they actually have all unanimously, whether they like President Trump or are never Trumpers, have said they're embarrassed by the DA's office bringing this type of case, and it has destroyed the integrity of my old office.
Folks, a couple of takeaways right here. There are so many at this point, thanks to Judge Merchan, this just disgrace to the entire legal system. There are so many avenues for appeal here. I'd like to get an answer on that Brady material. If that was not disclosed and the prosecutor knew it, Judge Merchan's decision not to let the FEC attorney, I've got to tell you, if New York has even a small semblance, which I'm not saying it does, I'm not suggesting it does, and we should not rely on the courts, but even a small semblance of legal sanity, no matter what happens in this case, I can't see, I cannot see on appeal this thing standing. There's no way. Eric Trump yesterday is talking about how Costello, Trump's lawyer, was just treated disgracefully. Costello's busy testifying to Cohen's credibility, and this scam of a judge, this fake judge in air quotes, keeps cutting off Costello's story. This is a tried and true tactic of political activists. He doesn't want Costello to tell a longitudinal story about Cohen's credibility and how Cohen told us, quote, I swear to God, not using the Lord's name in vain, it's a quote, I swear to God I don't have anything on Donald Trump. He doesn't want the jury to hear that, Merchan. So they kept cutting him off and sustaining ridiculous objections. Eric Trump was there. This thing is a disaster. Listen, folks, again, I'm not asking you to believe me. I love that you do. I appreciate that you're here. But this show is different because we always bring the receipts. If this was working, this legal lawfare against Donald Trump, this Merchan obscenity, this Twinkies obscenity, this Michael Cohen disaster, then it would show some kind of, there would be a jet stream in the polls. The jet stream would be carrying Trump to disaster, the legal jet stream. It's not. I don't even want to hear about national polls anymore. I only want to hear about swing state polls because the presidential election is not a national election. It's a series of state elections held on the same day. That's what it is. All I want to hear about are the swing states. Here's the latest CBS coverage of a poll out of Arizona where Biden's getting absolutely smoked. So I ask Wolf and Lawrence and all these other people, if this is working, then why isn't it working? It's the Moneyball rule. He's a good hitter. Why doesn't he hit good? Take a look.
These poll numbers from CBS News are really intriguing. In Arizona, we're looking at the issues of the economy and inflation driving the vote there. 80%, 82% of voters in Arizona, 78%, they say those issues are top of mind. And that's what we're hearing from voters on the campaign trail.
Folks, there's something about that I wanted to show you. I should ask you to hold it up at the end, that poll at the end. The third most important issue, I want you to pay very close attention. Bob Costa there talks about the economy, immigration, whatever he's talking about. That's not what I found interesting about the swing state poll. Thank you. Look at the third thing. The state of democracy, folks. Again, to all you liberal dumbasses out there, your tears are freaking delicious. Love them, baby. Your tears. Oh, let me take a sip of those tears now. Is that Ben Shapiro's thing or something? Hat tip the Shapiro team, Daily Wire. It's beautiful watching you just lacrimal glands, is that what they're called? Just pouring tears at you. The state of democracy. Trump's winning on the state of democracy? Why would he be winning on the state of democracy? Because people see Biden as the real enemy of the republic, not Donald Trump. Precisely because of the Twinkies trial and elsewhere. You guys effed up so bad, and it is freaking glorious to watch. Glorious. State of democracy. I notice how we left that out. That's just fantastic. U.S.-Mexico border, inflation, economy. You're getting crushed everywhere. Gee, why would he be getting crushed on all these issues? And here's another thing. This is why I asked you guys in the chat. I was in there earlier. What am I, at the Bongino show? I was chatting with some of you before. And I said, ladies, how do you feel about the election? I'm a little anxious about it. I don't want to hear any red wave talk ever. I saw a couple of people in the chat write that down. But because I don't want to be, a nervous Nelly all the time, I want to produce receipts and facts. And, panic doesn't help anyone, right? There is a lot of good news here. The good news is none of this stuff is fixable before November for this guy. None with Biden. He just can't. He's not going to turn around the economy. He's done too much damage. It's going to even Trump. It's going to take a couple of years. It just is. The U.S.-Mexico border is a disaster. There's going to be no change from now to the election. The state of democracy thing is only going to get worse as these continued lawfare against Trump continues. But the thing Biden can't fix that is destroying him most of all is, ladies and gentlemen, he is collapsing. He's not cognitively there. He did it again yesterday. He gave this speech the other day and claimed that he was the vice president during COVID. This is while he's talking about the erectionists, the guy can't give one freaking speech without a major faux pas. Watch this.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it.
Folks, the White House is running interference saying, no, he meant Barack Obama sent him during the recession, not the pandemic. Whatever. You don't know what anybody can say anything. That's what he said. The White House, this is one of those corrections they had to issue in the media eyepiece we opened up with, along with erectionists. He can't change this, man. You think this guy's going to get better from now to November? He's going to get worse. I don't wish ill will on anyone. However, this is a genuinely evil guy. The kid sniffing, the woman groping, the daughter showering, the corruption, the checks, the lying, the scamming, the scheming, the economy, the border, his attacks on Trump, the lawfare. The guy is a garbage person. He's an awful person. Doesn't mean I wish ill health on him, but he is a garbage person, and he is not going to get any better. I got more coming up on this. I'm going to take a quick break. And there's certain bells this guy can't unring either, folks. This guy has a history of saying grossly racist things. Hat tip Maze Moore up front, who's got a killer minute video. How this guy, folks, he calls black men boy all the time. This is the kind of thing the left would lose their mind if any conservative used this kind of language. Biden does it all the time, because that's who he is. Stand by, I'll show you that. Folks, you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Trust me, I've been there. You know that, I've talked about it. It's not just about feeling tired the next day. It's about the toll poor sleep can take on every aspect of your life. But guess what? There's hope on the horizon. It comes in the form of Beam's Dream Powder. The stuff's been a game changer for me. See, when we're sleeping well, we can be sharper, more focused, and ready to tackle whatever life throws our way. And today, my listeners get a special discount on Beam's Dream Powder. Their science-backed hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. Better sleep has never tasted better. Other sleep aids can cause that next day grogginess, but Dream contains a powerful, all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. You want to try it? Beam's best-selling Dream Powder? You can now get up to 45% off for a limited time with their biggest sale of the year for Memorial Day. Exclusive for Bongino Show listeners only when you go to shopbeam.com/Bongino and use code Bongino at checkout. That's shop, BEAM.com/Bongino and use code Bongino for up to 40% off. Thanks, Beam. I want to show you this. Again, these are not fixable things, folks. There are bells you can't unring. Biden hasn't had one or two racial faux pas. For a guy who continuously courts the black community, gives a speech at the NAACP about erectionists, this guy has a documented history of racism. I'm going to tell you right now, like no politician in America right now. History of the eulogizing KKK members, working with people supported by the Ku Klux Klan, using horrendous language to talk about men and women who are black. There is no bigger guy with a troubled racial past than this guy. And anybody telling you otherwise is bullshitting you. Check this Maze Moore video out. This is Cory Booker first, when he was running for president against Biden. Obviously, Cory Booker happens to be black. Here's Cory Booker, a Democrat, going after Biden for his language, and then Biden attacking him back, along with a series of other things this guy said, questionable at best. Check this out.
He used words like boy in a way that caused a lot of hurt and harm, and I called him out on it. And instead of coming forward and saying, I could have said that better, or let me tell you what I meant, he fell into a defensive crouch and tried to reassign blame and said that I should apologize to him.
Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker?
Apologize for what?
Cory Booker's called for it.
Cory should apologize. He knows better. You got a hell of a new governor in West Moore, I tell you. He's the real deal, and the boy looks like he can still play. He got some guns on him. LLJ Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's been with my senior advisor and boy who knows Louisiana very, very well, man, and New Orleans and Cedric Richmond. You want to come and make a speech? Hush up, boy.
Folks, you heard it yourself, man. You heard it yourself. There's nothing I need to add to that. It speaks for itself. This is who Biden is. This is who Biden's always been. Again, going back to my point that none of this is fixable. His personality is not going to get him through it. His intelligence isn't going to get him through it. His fine character isn't going to get him through it. The economy's not going to turn around. The state of democracy has only gotten worse under his lawfare. The border's gotten even worse. Why do you think the Democrats, I don't want to get off topic here, but are throwing this Hail Mary? You know that garbage bill, that bipartisan shit border bill we squashed, thankfully, a month and a half ago? You guys remember that bill? I know you do. It was a disaster. It was a total abomination. It had all kinds of loopholes. The Democrats are bringing that same bill up again. Schumer in the Senate. Why? Because they're terrified Biden's going to get smoked. And they're like, oh, maybe we can blame this on Republicans now if they say no to this garbage bill. I want you to understand that's how desperate they are. Always measure the success of what you're doing by the Democrats' response. The fact that they're digging up this already disgraced, done border bill should tell you whatever we're doing is working. And folks, there's nothing that's going to change with the economy. This went viral. I don't know if you saw this. This went viral on social media about a week ago. The Wall Street Journal put up probably, charts and stuff, whatever. It's an RDO podcast too, so I don't like to put too many charts up. This one's a must because it's probably the most devastating chart for the entire November election. It basically just talks about household net worth since the start of the Trump presidency versus Biden. A very simple chart. Our households, you, your wife, and your kids, or you and your kids, whatever it may be, are you worth more money or less? Look at this. Biden, Trump, then adjusted for inflation. Biden or Trump. The one adjusted for inflation Biden's destroyed household net worth. Look at it. Thank you, Guy. Look, I mean, it's not even close. The red line, in case you're the higher line, is the Trump one. Folks, you can't make this up. This guy, you're getting destroyed by this guy. You think this is going to change from now to November? You know, it's funny, Guy. The colors are reversed on the prompter. For some reason, you see that? You see what I'm seeing, right? I was about to say, hey, the blue line is Trump. I'm like, that's not right. The colors on the prompter. You just saved me. Glad we got that screen right there. Folks, he's not going to turn this around. Dude, no red wave talk. I'm just saying, if we can contain the cheating, at least to liberal states, we've got a good chance. Not a great chance, but a good one. All right, I want to move on because I got a lot more to get to. Folks, I want you to prepare for something, okay? This is going to be about the election. Speaking of the cheating, segueing instantly from where we just were. I need you to prepare for something mentally, and I mean really prepare. The best way to be proactive about an A to Z scenario is to thought through A to Z. That way, if something happens, your brain doesn't have to process information. You've already thought about it, okay? That's why when I go in a restaurant, I sit facing the door. What's the first thing I do? I try to look around, see if I can see a back door in the kitchen. So if someone breaks bad or something breaks bad, I take my wife and kids and go out the back. I do the same thing in church and elsewhere. I'm always thinking of where I can go. You have to do the same thing when it comes to this. You have to mentally fortify yourself, because if Trump wins, which is likely, not incredibly likely, but likely in November, I'm telling you, I said this on the Megyn Kelly show, and I'm going to say it here again. You better prepare yourself for unprecedented leftist violence. You think the George Floyd thing was bad? This has the potential to be even worse. They are not going to accept the Trump win, folks. You want to talk about election deniers? This could get really ugly really fast. Now, they will shift instantly, trust me, instantly, from the Republicans are election deniers narrative they have now to denying the results of the election themselves. They will do it seamlessly. They will not apologize. They won't care if you call them a hypocrite. They will give you the triple, not the double-barreled middle finger. They don't care. They don't care about, I want you to get, because I've got a lot of people who are emailing me this on Facebook. Dan, they just spent 4 years calling us election deniers. They're not going to deny the results of the election if Trump won. Folks in the chat, Bongino, are they going to deny the results of the election, yes or no? The answer, I'm telling you right now, is if anyone says no, I think I might have to ban you from the chat for just pure stupidity. They won't even think twice about it. And there will be unprecedented violence by these people. I'm going to take a break, and I want to show you this clip that went viral. It's Marco Rubio. Again, we don't get into politicians. We get into results. However, when they do something good, in this case they did, this is how you handle how the left is trying to preset the narrative about the election. They're trying to get Republicans on the record now. Will you accept any results, no matter the cheating, while they, even if the results are legit, are planning to 100% deny the results of the election? Rubio didn't fall for it. He did a really good job. Last break, and I'll get back to that. Who is this? Point him out. KL4U5. Not only no, he's an F no. Dude, I'm sorry. Anita, he may be a mistake, Anita. So Anita, I know she has like moderator powers, right? Just check with him and make sure. But if that's a no, I'm sorry. We may have to mute you for a little bit. Because we can't have this kind of unadulterated, stupid. I'm just saying it may have been a mistake. So someone check that out. Anita, get on the case. Work with Bongino. You guys got to clean that up. I can't have that. That kind of ignorance is crazy, folks. Here it is. The Jace case. This is my actual Jace case. What's that sound? That's not a rattle. Those are my emergency medicines and antibiotics. It's like vase with a J. The Jace case this year could be a busy, busy hurricane season. Folks, emergencies are everywhere. You don't want to get caught in a disaster without medications and an emergency pack. Go to jace.com. Enter code Bongino. Get your Jace case, a personalized emergency medication kit that contains essential medications to suit your family's needs. The Jace case provides life-saving antibiotics. Jace Medical provides customizability from EpiPens to Augmentin, so you can keep essential medications in stock. Do not get caught unprepared. Go to jace.com. Fill out the form today. Review the terms. As soon as Jace Medical has a physician evaluate the request, if you're eligible, Your medications are dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. Enter code Bongino at checkout for a discount on your order. For as low as $270, you can get more than $600 worth of physician evaluation and medicines. Go to jace.com, enter code Bongino. Don't wait at checkout for a discount on your order. Jace Medical's products are not intended as a substitute for professional medical treatment or advice. Consult with your healthcare provider. And our last sponsor before that Rubio video, Genucel. Folks, Genucel Skincare's 25-year anniversary with an extra 25% off their already awesome prices, making this the biggest Genucel sale ever. And right now, get Genucel Skincare's best-selling, most popular package featuring Gen 90 for immediate results in minutes and top-selling under-eye bags and puffiness serum for over 70% off. Save big on all Genucel top-selling products for a younger, more youthful-looking you. Troubling forehead wrinkles and fine lines, gone. Skin redness and dark spots, gone. And those pesky bags and puffiness disappear right before your eyes. Genucel guarantees you'll see results in less than 12 hours or your money back. For a limited time, get 70% off plus an extra 25% anniversary discount automatically applied at checkout. When the sale's gone, it's gone. Order yours right now and get the Genucel jawline treatment for a more contoured, defined jawline. Limited inventory available. GENUCEL.com/Dan, Genucel.com/Dan. Visit Genucel.com/Dan now. Get a free spa box with 2 bonus gifts and free shipping. Genucel.com/Dan, Genucel.com/Dan. Okay, back to the video. Oh, thank you. KL4U5. Thank you. I just see, don't ever, I'm not an overly emotional guy. I gave you a chance. Unlike Judge Merchan, Anita and I are the judge and jury here, and we've got Bongino. We give everybody a fair chance at justice. Guy, Avita, do we not? And we can thank you, KLU4U5. We appreciate that because I was getting very nervous there. There's no way a legitimate listener would be that stupid, and you seem like a very smart guy or gal. Just let us know, guy or gal. You don't have to say anything else, but we appreciate that. Thank you for cleaning that up. Here is Marco Rubio. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how it's done. I don't care if you like him, you don't like him. It doesn't matter. I'm about results. When you go on left-wing media bullshit stations and they ask you the question about election integrity, but they don't give a shit about it, this is how you answer the question every single time. Watch this.
Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter what happens, Senator?
No matter what happens? No, if it's an unfair election, I think it's going to be contested by either side.
Senator, no matter who wins.
I think you're asking the wrong person. The Democrats are the ones that have opposed every Republican victory since 2000. Every single one. It's Hillary Clinton.
No Democrat has refused to concede. Hillary Clinton conceded. Senator, will you accept the election results?
Hillary Clinton said the election was stolen from her and that Trump was illegitimate. Kamala Harris agreed.
Senator,
we have Democrats now.
Senator, she conceded the election. She said that Trump was illegitimate. She said that the election had been stolen. Kamala Harris agreed. By the way, there are Democrats serving in Congress today who in 2004 voted not to certify the Ohio electors because they said those machines had been tampered with. And you have Democrats now saying they won't certify 2024 because Trump is an insurrectionist and ineligible to hold office. So you need to ask them. I think you've had have you ever asked a Democrat this question on your show? I bet you've never asked a Democrat that question.
Listen, again, I don't really care if you love or hate this guy. It doesn't matter. It's not personal. Everybody needs to understand that. They're either a +1 or a -1 on an issue or an appearance. This was a +1. Kristen, whatever the hell her name is, got absolutely wrecked. Rubio is 100% correct. You do not answer that question. You simply redirect back to the obvious. The only group of election deniers out there are the Democrats. Republicans have election integrity concerns. We never denied an election happened. We just said the 2020 election was shit, which we are perfectly entitled to say, and we have the evidence to back it up. There's mounds of evidence that there were problems in this election. Mounds of evidence. And the historical data on mail-in voting is clear. The New York Times wrote a whole piece about it. In 2012, we put on the show at least 20 times about issues with mail-in balloting. So cut this shit, Kirsten Welker. This is how you do not answer that question. You point out their hypocrisy. Hillary Clinton did not concede the election. She, to this day, insists the Russians stole it. She gave a perfunctory call and then changed her mind. Cut the bullshit. What Donald Trump said about the election, these questions, is no different than what Hillary Clinton did. He had questions with it. Hillary Clinton had questions. The difference is Trump's questions were legitimate and Hillary's weren't. By the way, we were kidding about that. A bunch of people in the chat, like, you censor it. We're not going to censor it. We were just a joke, folks. I get it was only, we were kidding. We're not censoring people in the chat. I'm like an equity holder in Rumble. That's our whole thing. It was a joke. I got to stop joking around. Get ready, though, because they're already, I was setting you up there. Nice. This is like a serious bun. You don't have to wait till after the election. They're already preparing right now. Really? New York Mag, folks. Trump would need new tactics to steal the 2024 election. I was setting you up. They're not even waiting. Do you see why Rubio did the right thing? Never answer the question from these media goons. They will not care. If election night is a landslide, let's say we win by a margin that supersedes the cheating buffer for the left. Say we win nationally. It's not a national election, but if he wins by 5 or 6 points nationally, there's no chance that the states are going to break down differently in the Electoral College. None. If he wins by 5 or 6 points and it's called election night by like midnight or 1 a.m, I guarantee you it will be 1:01 a.m. the next day, that night, where the Democrats are already saying there's irregularities, cheating. They will not apologize. They don't care. You need to be ready, like Rubio, to fire right back. We don't want to hear it from you goons. You complained about it last time. Unless you have evidence, take it to court, shut your pie holes. We're good. Now, I'm going to show you this clip. This is important. I got this net zero stuff coming up too. And we haven't done this in a while. Another video, so viewer discretion advised. A kind of is it bad enough video, because this is just happening every day now. But just quickly, I want you to watch this. I don't trust this guy as far as I could throw him, by the way. You know what? He put the AP article up first. This was a guy involved in the Trump administration, a guy by the name of Krebs. Trump fired this guy because he basically vouched for the vote security in 2020, which we all know just wasn't there. There's mounds of evidence that there were issues in this election, okay? And they were not litigated. They never made it past this initial stage because a lot of these judges were afraid. That's just a fact, okay? Don't tell me they were litigated. So this guy Krebs is resurfaced. He's supposed to be some like infrastructure expert guy. And what he's saying here isn't crazy. Like AI-generated stuff can be a threat. However, I think this is the takeaway. Follow me. The left is going to prepare for the Republican stole it narrative, and it's going to have something to do again with China or Russia, just like they did in 2016. Russia. They're going to do. But I think what they're going to do is this time it's not going to be about a dossier. They're going to blame it on AI. They are. How they're going to do it, I don't know. Are they going to blame AI memes? But none of this stuff is by accident. Listen to this guy about China and Russia and AI, and you'll see what I mean. You'll be prepared for it. Check this out.
But to your point on influence, the scope, the scale, the technology available to our adversaries, including AI and deepfakes, it is a much more precarious threat environment. The Chinese are active. The Russians are very active. They've been using deepfakes in Europe. We've seen AI pop up in Moldova, Slovakia, else Bangladesh. So it is going to be a tool.
Now, listen, I want to be clear. Like, just because people I don't trust say things doesn't mean what they're saying is untrue. I mean, I don't trust a lot of people. If they tell me the Knicks lost in 7, they lost in 7. It doesn't matter if he says it or not. They just lost to the Pacers, okay? However, the premise isn't wrong. This AI thing could be a big threat. I mean, it could be fake videos of Trump out there. Look at Trump. The PP tape has surfaced, okay? I'm just saying I think the left is going to use that as a pretext to inject another Russia narrative and say Trump cheated. So just be ready for it. And I'm talking to people in the Trump team and campaign as well. Be ready for this because it's coming. They are undoubtedly going to talk about, you guys cheated to win. All right, I want to get to this net zero. It's one of the biggest threats. Oh, Viva, you don't have to donate money. You know Viva Fravo? This guy's one of my favorites, man. Great commentator, legal stuff, all kinds of stuff. When they concede, they mean contrition. They didn't just want Trump to transfer power. They want him. Yes. I said, yes, exactly, Viva. 100%. They wanted absolute subordination. You will comply. And you will acknowledge, in fact, that this mail-in balloting system that even the New York Times admitted had double the rejection rates in an extensive piece in 2012, they wanted Trump to put his imprimatur on it. to put his little fingerprint seal on it to make sure they could cheat in perpetuity and go, look, even the Republicans love it. Great point, Viva. Thank you. That's very nice. We don't have to tip, folks. I appreciate it. I so much, but you really don't. I promise. God has been very generous to me. I'm a capitalist, but that was very nice. Yeah, I'm a little flattered. Okay, back to, is it bad enough? Now, this is another thing that is going to damage them in this election. Obviously, we showed the polls, state of democracy, the border, Biden's age, leadership, military issues. All of this stuff is killing Biden, foreign chaos. I get it. But one of the things that's hurting Democrats around the country, and folks, pay very close attention to some of these primaries results that come out in Oregon and Georgia and elsewhere. There are a number of primaries still going on where a bunch of these Soros-type prosecutors are on the ballot. There's a race in Portland that everybody should be watching. This is destroying the Democrats at the national and local level. Where Democrats live, ladies and gentlemen, it's just not safe. Watch this video out of New York. They're everywhere. A little bit disturbing. Some guy in an elevated train station. We call it the L up in New York. And you'll see he's in the middle of getting mugged. And, it's just, you got the video? It's just not good, man.
Stop! Oh my
Knocks him
God!
down. Look,
I'm
running.
calling the cops! I am calling the cops!
Nobody knows what to do.
I'm calling the cops! Help! Help! Stop him! Stop him!
I mean, this is the kind of stuff like out of a bad, 1980s, Batman movie or something, right? Folks, these videos are everywhere. I mean, they're all over the place. And the thing about social media is the perilous street situation right now. Everybody sees it. You're not just hearing about it like, hey, did you hear Tony got mugged in the L? Now you're seeing it. This is happening everywhere. I try not to play these videos too much because this is probably the least disturbing one we played in a while. There's one of this, I don't know if you saw it, this older gentleman's getting in an elevator with a Rolex. Guy walks in, just cold cocks him. Knocks this guy out. Steals his watch. See the guy bleeding on the floor. It's just, is it bad enough yet? Chat, folks. I'm going to say no, but I'm going to tell you something. It's getting there. And I think we'll see in this election. I think that New Jersey rally, we may be 50% of the way to bad enough. All right, moving on. Folks, we're going to start to do some segments in the show, not necessarily tied to the daily news, but because we've got an election coming up, there are things we have to vote on. There are not, say, headline issues. You saw the poll before, tying it back to that Arizona swing state poll. They're big headline, what I would call finger stick issues. They finger stick you every day, like one of those blood glucose things. Again, it's annoying enough that you just want to find a new way to do it, and you want to find a new approach. Crime, the economy, the border. But there are other bigger issues out there, macro issues, that are really a problem. And one of these issues is this net zero communist bullshit. They call these people watermelons now, these green people. They're green on the outside, but red like commies on the inside. They basically exchange communism for a socialist environmentalism. And they've got these nonsense plans like net zero. Net zero, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, is nothing more than a police state mechanism to control every single thing you do. Now, the great Evita Duffy Alfonso, I know her well. She's sitting right there. She writes for us and the Federalist. She's been covering this for a long time. I want you to read these pieces we have linked in the newsletter today, bongino.com/newsletter, so you get an idea about what this net zero is. The idea of net zero is net zero carbon emissions, which if you're an environmentalist, you're like, oh, wow, that's great, net zero carbon emissions. Yeah, it's great if you're a lunatic. And until you find out what you actually have to do. So Evita wrote this piece. These 14 American cities have a target of banning meat, dairy, and private vehicles by 2030. That net zero sounded great until you find out that will involve 0 kilograms of meat consumption. No steak for you. Remember the soup Nazi? We got the steak Nazi now. No steak for you. 0 grams of dairy consumption. You like whole milk like me? I drink gallons of it. The Walmart guy drops the stuff off. My wife's like, I had 7 gallons of milk. It's only been 2 days. Where did it go? The answer is right in my veins. No grams of dairy consumption for you either. We got the milk Nazi out there. And this one's great. Evita, 3 new clothing items per year. 3. It's like Wait, a question for you, Vita. Does that include underwear? That includes your drawers. Man, thank God these are in Tommy John's. Thank God these are in good shape. Only 3 new clothing items per year, 0 private vehicles owned. So you're going to be doing the Fred Flintstone, I guess, walking your ass around, and only 1. What you can get? No, you're not allowed. Avita says, folks. Sorry, I was looking at my Tommy John's. So he says 0 electric vehicles either. So you may think, oh no, I got a Tesla. What was that thing? I got a hybrid Prius or whatever. You're no good either. And 1 short haul return flight every 3 years. So you've got family overseas, a short haul. You're going to have to halfway down, they're going to parachute you out of the plane as they turn around. You're going to have to swim the rest of the way. This sounds great. I love this net zero. This is awesome. I'm going to recommend you and Jim cover this on Thursday. They're in for me on the radio. I will be here on the podcast on Thursday. Let me say again, Anita, tell everyone because they get confused. Thursday, I'm doing the Patrick Bet David podcast. I'll be doing it from his studio and my show too. I just can't do the radio because I'll be at his studio. But I will be here Thursday. It's just going to look a little different. So don't you worry. So this sounds really great, this Net Zero C40 Climate Initiative group. Here's another one. They want to abolish freedom of movement too. Like I said, limiting air travel and other things. Now, there's a great commentator out there. We put her on the show before. Her name is Eva Vlardingerbrook. Forgive me if I'm saying the name wrong. I promise you it's not intentional. With a last name like Bongino, I'm sure you understand. People call me Bongino all the time. Here she is talking about more of this net zero, great reset bullshit where you're going to have a carbon credit. So if you're like a rich dude and you want to take a flight, yeah, you can take a flight, but you're going to have to pay some carbon offset so some a poor person can take a flight too. This is the craziest shit I have ever heard. Take a look at this. Folks, you have any idea how insane this is? These people are freaking bananas. And make no mistake, none of those rules will apply to politicians or expensive lobbyists who paid off the left. None. Absolutely none of those rules will apply. It'll only apply to you. And by rich people, by the way, they mean people who make $50,000 a year or more. Of course, it gets worse. You need to understand that these green on the outside, red on the inside communists, this has nothing to do with the environment. People like Al Gore don't give a rat's ass about the environment. Dude flies around the globe in a private jet spewing his own carbon dioxide everywhere. He doesn't give a damn. Remember that story about his house? His house was burning all this energy. The lights were on all the time. Whatever. These people don't give a shit. These are rules for the smellies, the deplorables, the hayseeds. You know us, the people not connected. This is a fundamentally anti-human ideology. You are a virus on this planet. That's how they perceive you. Folks, they hint about it. They imply it. They wink and nod about it. This all goes back to the Malthusian ideology that the world is overpopulated somehow. That is bullshit. The world is not overpopulated. Nobody has any idea how many people the globe can. Matter of fact, most of these countries, the biggest population we have right now, Japan and elsewhere, is a demographic time bomb where the population is shrinking. The biggest problem we have in the United States is not mass starvation like Paul Ehrlich, population bomb guy, and Thomas Malthus predicted. The biggest problem we have is freaking obesity because agricultural productivity is through the roof. We have food everywhere. We probably throw out more food than most countries eat. They're full of shit. They're looking for a reason to advance this anti-human ideology, and they talk about it if you listen. Here's a great clip. This is this guy, Dennis Meadows. Listen to this about global depopulation, as if this is a good thing. And yeah, but, we got to do it peacefully. Oh, that's nice. We're not talking about mass extermination. Okay, at least that's a positive. Yeah, you said it right. It's a mostly peaceful extermination. Take a look.
In one way or another, we are so far, globally, we are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way, and I mean civil in a special way, peaceful. Peace doesn't mean that everybody's happy, but it means that conflict isn't solved through violence, through force, but rather in other ways. And so that's what I hope for.
In other ways, I wonder what those other ways are. Folks, you need to understand, like, people who discuss these kinds of things and talk about this way, they perceive you to be some kind of human virus on the globe. This is what really irks me when yesterday, not to kind of go back to yesterday's show, but it's important here. This is what bothers me about Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church, where we believe God gave human beings in his likeness the earth to use, not abuse. Okay, there's a difference. I am a conservative Republican. I'm proud of that. A conservative first, a Republican a far distant 25th. But I am a conservative Republican, and I'm proud of that. Folks, what do you think I do? Like, I go out on the boat with the weekends with my friends, and I take my garbage and throw it in the water. Hey, Paulie, you got some garbage? We're going out on the boat. I take like chemical compounds from an oil change and go, hey, let's go to the Stewart Sandbar and dump this in. I live here. I've made a big stink about the water situation in Florida because we have screwed it up. This plastic issue and stuff in the oceans, like, that's a big deal. It's Republicans who love our national parks and are the outdoorsy types. However, we live here. And just like you live in a house, you create garbage and you create waste and you find ways to do something about it. You understand these people see us as the waste? They see us as a byproduct of this earth that if we somehow weren't here, it would be such a better place. The earth was given to us. It's a home. We're the only sentient beings who live here. Do not fall for this shit, man. All right, one last thing. Gee, can you go to the Miracle Flights thing? One last, on a lighter note. It's Tuesday, but this story, folks, I'd be remiss if I didn't get to this today. I may tick some people off here, and I'm sorry, but it's got to happen because I've got to do my best to stop this. I fly a lot. I'm occasionally in commercial airports, sometimes not. I'm not going to spin your wheels. I'm not, bragging about anything. I'm just saying I do, I fly enough and have flown a lot, especially during my last line of work. When I fly out of PBI, Palm Beach International, which is about 45 minutes south of me, obviously in Palm Beach. Folks, you ever get on a plane, and especially like Southwest or like a JetBlue. JetBlue has this like mosaic priority boarding thing. If you fly a lot like I do, you get mosaic. It's just the way it is. We just fly a lot. Paul and I were doing a lot of speeches back in the day, not so much anymore. But one of the most annoying things I've ever seen, and I'm sorry if this ticks you off, you may be part of the issue. Listen, if you are legitimately handicapped, get on that plane first. You're a veteran. You go right ahead. Obviously, the crew, people who paid for it, that's the way it works. Like, you do your thing. The problem is you go to PBI. Avita, have you flown out of there yet? You have. Have you seen this? Folks, there's a line on a lot of these flights of seriously like 20, 25 people in wheelchairs. Washington Times wrote about, they call them miracle flights, where people get on the plane first. They get priority boarding with the wheelchair. And the minute they get on the flight, they're like bouncing up. They're like Carl Lewis running and sprinting in the Olympics. And then it's like magic. Not only they sprint, they get off the plane and they're like, you need a wheelchair? Because they don't, you have to wait. And they're like, no, we're okay. What do you mean? Now, I'm going to tell you something. This happened with a family member too one time who I love, but this happened to me. And I was like, why did you say you need it? And I was very upset about it. So I'm not speaking with forked tongue. I'm just saying we got to clean the situation up. If you need it, you need it. We have handicap parking spots for a reason. If people park in them that aren't handicapped, legitimately handicapped people, then have to walk because they don't get the spot. So the miracle flight wheelchair situation, anyone in the chat, you know what I'm talking about? Have you been there? Tell me the truth, because this is the kind of thing, I used to bring this up to my wife all the time. It gets under my skin a lot because there are people who are really hurt out there. Our veterans, board them first. Let our people who are hurt and can't walk. But this is like, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to make a lot of enemies. Oh, my gosh. It happens all the time. It drives me crazy. All right, folks, thanks again for tuning in. As I said, reminder, Thursday, so there's no confusion. We will be here same time on the podcast channel every day, 11 a.m., live Eastern time. Download the Rumble app. rumble.com/Bongino if you want to watch on desktop. It is free. Watch the show. We will be broadcasting from Patrick Bet-David's studio. We'll be recording his podcast too. When that'll air, I'll let you know. I will be off radio only on Thursday. The great Avita Duffy and Jim will be in, producer Jim, and I'll be back there on Friday. And it looks like, big announcement here too, it looks like we will be doing our broadcasting from the RNC as well. In addition to election night, we'll be giving you primetime coverage. So I'll give you some updates on some programming notes. You guys hear it first, so I really appreciate it. Thanks, folks. I'll be on the radio show in a few minutes. I'm back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Thanks for tuning in.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show.